This is a milestone week. Can you guess which one I hit? Come back and I'll tell you all about it. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today what I'm doing is updating my monthly budget for the second week of December. I do budgets by week starting on Fridays, so this is the week of December 13th through December 19th. The first thing that I did was I filled in the paycheck that came in, and then I added in all of the bills that had come out this week. So I'm just checking everything over before I turn over to my monthly cash flow tracker. And on this document, I record all of the transactions that went through my checking account. So starting with the paycheck that came in, I'm going to record that and the amount. And then I will record all of the outflows or all of the money that left my bank account since I last updated this a week ago. So this is pretty much akin to a check register from back in the day when we used to keep those. I still do this just because I want to make sure that I'm aware of what's going through my checking account, but also that every transaction has a purpose and a name. I did this last month and discovered that I had made a deposit of some cash that I'd saved up from the Letterbucks challenge, and then I didn't record where it was. I didn't record it coming out because I hadn't taken it out. I completely forgot all about it. So doing this every week helps me to keep on top of that. So all of these transactions are credit card payments. I tend to keep up on this pretty well. I don't carry any debt, so I make multiple credit card payments a month just to make sure that I don't accidentally accrue any interest, because I like to earn interest, not pay it. So even though I paid all of these credit cards already last week, I paid them all again. They all had transactions for various purposes, and so in order to keep those balances low, I just made all the payments, and I had everything already on hand. You'll notice there's not a rent payment here, and that is for a very specific reason that I will talk about later on, maybe toward the end of the month or next month. So now having finished that, I'm going to move over to the expense tracker, and this is where I record everything that I paid for over the course of the week that went onto a credit card. So these are not my bills. These are not transactions that went through my checking account. This is only credit cards. And also any cash that I spent, I record that as a lump sum toward the end of the week. I don't record cash payments. To me, that is my discretionary money or my mad money. So I don't hold myself to account for what I spent it on. I hold myself to account for staying within the budget that I give myself. So I'm writing down all of the transactions that went through my credit cards, and I use various ones based on the rewards that I get. Most of these are going to be either food or Christmas. Food generally means either groceries or a meal out. And the Christmas is basically a sinking fund that I gave myself, or a stockpile that I gave myself for this month, specifically for December for Christmas spending. Most of this isn't gifts. This is things like shipping and wrapping supplies and things like that, because I ran out and then I have to ship everything. And shipping, oh my goodness, every year it gets worse, but I feel like this year is especially bad. Both of those transactions that I'm about to record for shipping, one at UPS and one at the Postal Service, was to send one box, and not a terribly big box, and not, we're not talking about overnight service here. We're talking about, standard, standard services. I think the one that I sent UPS went ground from the West Coast to the Midwest, and the one that I sent via the Postal Service went priority to the Midwest. So it's it's not 20 years ago, that's for sure, when postage was cheap and shipping things was affordable. But we pay the prices that they demand of us. So I have just a couple more transactions here, and then I will go through and color code everything. I tend to color code my transactions by week. So all of the ones that are highlighted in red, those are all the week 1 transactions. The one that's highlighted in yellow at the top, that was a Christmas transaction. So because that's coming out of a stockpile that I'm using for the month over multiple weeks, I'm highlighting that in a separate color, even though it was part of my week 1 expenses. You'll also notice that there's no transactions before the 6th. That's because the 6th was the first Friday in December, and again, I start my weeks on the 6th. So all of the transactions that were the 1st through the 5th went in against the November budget because there was the Friday after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, the last Friday in November. That week that followed had mostly days in December. Okay, so now I'm just making sure that I've got all the transactions, and now I'm going to go through and color code. I'm going to start with the Christmas transactions, and then I'll come through and highlight all of the weekly transactions. One of these days, I'm going to be able to keep all of my monthly transactions on one page, but I don't think that's going to be this month. We'll see. I might still make it. But I'm actually taking a little bit of a trip next week that I paid for with travel rewards, so nothing out of pocket. But there will be a lot of meals out for that trip, and so I will have a lot of transactions. So, all right. So capping that pen, and now I realize that I forgot to write in the amount of cash that I spent, so I'm going to fill that in. And I didn't spend all the cash this week. I think I did spend $60 though. So a good portion of it, but sometimes it's just a blend. I use cash when it's convenient to, or when it makes sense to, and I use a credit card the rest of the time. And so I want to make sure that I'm capturing both when I reconcile that against the $200 a week budget that I've given myself. I tend to take $100 out of the bank just to make sure that I have enough, but otherwise it's a blend, and I usually don't spend all the cash. So now what I'm going to do is total up all of my weekly transactions, and these are only the ones highlighted in blue. Again, I'm not yet counting the ones for Christmas because those will come out of the stockpile at the end of the month once I have all of the weeks recorded. So these are only the ones in blue, and I did go over my weekly spend, but as I said earlier, I had, or maybe I didn't say it earlier, but I had essentially 2 weeks of groceries come out of this week. I had this week's groceries and next week's groceries. So even though I'm over budget, I expect that I will spend significantly less next month. So I'm just recording that here, and I'm making sure that I don't need to record anything else in any of the other sections. And then what I'm going to do is the really big news. I am going to move over to my either my emergency fund or my Roth IRA. Looks like I'm doing the Roth IRA first. So as many of you may have noticed, the market took a big dive this week, and I've been waiting for an opportunity like that to come along, and it just so happened that this week was that week. So I immediately took $2,000 out of my checking account and sent it over to my brokerage account and contributed to my Roth IRA, which fully funded it for 2024. I had allocated $900 previously, and I'd even marked them off here. And then we got hit by a bad weather storm back in November, and I had to send that money back to my checking account that I'd previously sent to my brokerage, just to make sure that I had enough to literally weather the storm. So I noted that here on the tab that I had marked off $900 that ended up not being contributed to the Roth IRA. And so now I've gone back and I've sent in that $900 plus an additional $1,100, which was the last $2,000 for my 2024 cap. And so it is fully funded for the year. It was one of my goals to get this done before the calendar year rolled over, and I made it. You can contribute to your Roth IRA for 2024 until the tax deadline for 2025, but I wanted to get it done before the calendar year ended. So I put a fully funded sticker on there. If you like those, they're available in my Etsy shop. I think it's important to note when you achieve a big goal that you want to mark it off. So I had these stickers made with a font that is sort of like what you see on our currency, just because I thought it would be a fun thing to do. So I'm proud of that achievement, and I was proud to put the sticker on there. So now I'm on my emergency fund page, and I'm recording the amount or the balance as of the day that I recorded this video, which was the 19th. And I was in the course of looking at my transactions, I realized that I had probably had enough to mark off the next notch on the tracker, and it turns out that I did. I was actually a bit over, so I'm a little behind in doing this, but um, I'm I'm going to fill in the flask here with a pen that I realized as I was doing this probably isn't the same one that I used last time, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that the money's in the account, it's safe, and it's earning interest. We did just have another rate cut from the Fed, so I'm expecting that the interest rate in my high yield savings account will drop again. It drops in tandem with that rate. So as of right now, I'm earning 4.25%, but with a cut of 25 basis points, which is what the Fed announced this week, I'm expecting any day now to see that rate get cut again to 4%, which, is disappointing in a way. But at the same time, I think for the good of the broader economy, it's something that needed to get done. We're probably behind in it. I don't know, but at any rate, it's what the market offers, so I will take what I can get. Next, we're going to put this back in here, and then I am going to flip it back over to the first page, I think, and we'll do the Letterbucks challenge next. I don't have all that many ones this week because I didn't spend all that much cash, but I will stuff what I did manage to accumulate here in just a moment. This is the Letterbucks challenge, and it's probably my favorite part of my weekly budget update. What I do is when I spend cash throughout the week, any $1 bills that I get back, I put into this pouch, and then at the end of the week, I sort them by the letter that's on the front of them. You can see it's there to the left of the portrait. There will be an A, a B, a G, a K, an L. A through L are the different letters, and each one corresponds with a different branch bank of the Federal Reserve. There are 12 different cities that have one. The closest one to me is in San Francisco, so I get mostly the bucks that have an L on it, which is the letter that corresponds to San Francisco. Here I'm going to stuff the B bucks. B corresponds with New York, so I feel like I've been getting a lot of those lately, and it's probably just because the New York Federal Reserve is so big and covers so many people that even out here on the West Coast, I get quite a few of them. So I'm going to mark off the two that I put into the envelope here on this tracker, and I use these that I made with a font that has 15 separate slots in each. Again, it's the same font that is on the fully funded sticker, and is similar to one that you might see on our currency. So because each one has 15 slots, I'm just sliding in or coloring in two of them rather, very carefully to indicate that I've added two. So now I've got 31 B-Bucks. And I'm going to verify this by going back to the pouch or the envelope, and I will pull everything out. I've already got a $15 placeholder in there, and now I'm going to add another one and keep one of the bills. First, I'm going to count to make sure that I have 16 actual bills here, and I do. So I will keep the best looking one because I like to keep the prettiest bills in my envelopes, and I'll send the uglier ones back to the bank. And then I will take out another placeholder, and I'm just going to stamp it here over the letter B, just because it's something fun to do. I made these placeholders as well as part of the challenge. So now it is officially a B-Buck placeholder for $15. So the $30 that I saved are back in the bank, and I've got the two $15 placeholders and one real bill still in the envelope, along with the tracker. So I'm just going to slide those in there, and I'm going to slide the tracker back in there. And then I'm going to move on to the C, which is the next one that I got this week. C is, I think, Philadelphia. I used to know them all by heart, but, I get so confused sometimes. So I'm taking out the C tracker. I just have the one. and I will fill in that letter. First, I'm going to slide it into the envelope and I'll fill in that letter. I initially, when I started this challenge, decided that I was going to save, all the different letters were going to represent something different. So you can see here on the tracker, I've written C for candy, B is for birthday, and whatnot. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I think I'm going to change this. And I think I'm going to do what Save with Judy does, where she accumulates her $1 bills from savings challenges that she does throughout the month, and she puts them all toward her property taxes, but she still does the Letterbucks challenge just to see how many she's getting from different letters, different Federal Reserve banks. And then when she gets to $100, she deposits that into her savings account and then uses that to pay her property taxes. I don't own a house or any property, so I don't pay property taxes, at least not directly. My landlord pays them, and then I pay them rent. But I think what I'm going to do is put all of the Letterbucks toward a larger goal, and that larger goal is relocation. I'm looking to move to a different state at some point, either in 2025 or 2026, and it's going to be a costly move, so I want to make sure that I have enough saved up for it. So I'm considering doing that, and I probably will implement that when the year rolls over. So moving on to binder number 2, I have 2 binders because I can't fit them all into one, so I split them, 6 A through F and then G through L, 6 envelopes in each. I had 2 G-Bucks this week, so I tucked those in there. G's are from Chicago, I know, or they're distributed from Chicago. I know this from Kathy of Kathy's Cash and Coin. Goodness, that's a mouthful. So I'm going to fill in the G tracker for 2 and put the tracker back in the envelope eventually. G was for glasses. I won't need glasses for hopefully a few years. I just got the ones that I have now this year, so I'm hoping that the prescription lasts for a while and the frames last for a while. But I'm just going to dry this off and then slide it back into the envelope. And I'll move on to the J-Bucks, which are next. J is pretty rare here. J is the Kansas City Federal Reserve, I believe. And it is the third closest to me. San Francisco's first, Dallas is second, and then Kansas City. But we just don't see that many of them here. And I think it's just because the Kansas City Federal Reserve is so small compared to some of the larger ones. So I'm going to fill in a J here. And then because I have 15 of them, I am going to put in a placeholder for these J's. I have a piece of prop money in the envelope, and I will take that out as well, and then replace that plus all of the 5 actual J-Bucks that are still in there with a $15 placeholder, just to keep the binder thin and to keep the money earning interest, because, as I said before, with interest rates falling, I need all the money I can get into my savings account earning that interest. I use Wealthfront for my savings account. This isn't a sponsored video, but it is the best interest rate that I found, and it works well for me, so that's what I use. But they do tend to cut their rates fairly quickly after the Fed makes their decision. So because I'm earning less, or will be earning less, I want to make sure I get as much in there as I can. So I'm looking through all these other placeholders just to see if I have any blanks, and I don't. And none of them are already stamped J, so I am going to get out my... now I'm looking through the other binder and not finding any there. I'm going to get out the pack of blanks, and I will make a J placeholder for these. So I've already set the money aside. I'm just going to take one out. I'll stamp it J, put it in the envelope along with the tracker, and then I'll move on to the only other buck that I have this week, which is an L buck. So I like having these placeholders, as kind of a fun way to make sure that, you've got the tracker, but you've also got something tangible that you can put your hands on that represents all of the money that you didn't spend, that you chose to save. And that's important to me, is marking off those achievements, especially because there was a point in my life where I literally could not save $1. I was deep in debt, and it was a stressful time in my life. And Having come through that, come out the other side, and now I'm in a position where I can save money, I am taking every victory lap I can, no matter how short or how small. So now I'm going to mark off this L-buck here on this tracker. I will slide it into the envelope along with the tracker, and that'll be it for Letterbucks for the week. When I move over to 2025, if I do decide to change the way I'm doing this, as I probably will, I will make new trackers just because I'm no longer saving for those, and I don't want to lament the things that I'm not saving for. I want to celebrate or anticipate with great joy the things that I am saving for. So that's all the Letterbucks done and dusted, and I'll be back in just a moment to wrap everything up. So that's the week that was. I notched another tier on my emergency fund tracker, and I fully funded my Roth IRA for 2024. I also decided to make a pivot with one of my biggest goals, and I'm excited for what 2025 is going to bring. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'm especially grateful you watched all the way to the end. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below, and share with your friends. Until I see you again next time, take care.